other motion of abduction, and that is the thumb, right? We know that the thumb abduction is a duck. Abduction. Alright. So, that is abduction. Our range. Anybody care to take a stab at that one?
105.
Oh, wow.
112.
70, 90, 80, 90, 75.
Let's see what we get.
Help us out here.
We're gonna take this measurement and see what we end up getting, okay?
Did you say abduction?
Abduction, yes.
60 to 7.
0 to 70 degrees.
That is the
Okay.
toughest.
Are we playing the
That
prices
is
right?
our range. Okay.
I'll take 71.
You were. You said 70. A couple people said 70.
70 to
But it's all the way down to 0. Okay?
Okay?
So let's see what she gets. So, our fulcrum.
Bust my thumb real quick.
Our fulcrum is going to be placed. So our patient's going to be in a neutral position. Okay, neutral forearm position. So thumb up. Okay, and then our fulcrum is going to be. We can use in the book. Apparently, there isn't much of a difference between these 2 points. You can either use the radial styloid process or the scaphoid. I don't know why for wrist flexion extension it says you have to use the triquetrum and you can't use the ulnar styloid process, but then on this one it doesn't matter. Apparently there is, yeah.
It's that
Whatever.
They're like your greater trochanter. Why are you still reading?
However, I say that it does make a little sense because we know the makeup of the wrist, right? We've got articular disc that separates the ulnar styloid process and the rest of the wrist, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you think about it that way, and yes, it does make sense.
You've got to be kidding.
He just woke up from his nap.
Was that like the, oh! Where am I? Seriously.
He's so excited.
Strap him down.
Alright, let's go.
We're taking too long. Okay, so I've got her in this point. My fulcrum is going to go either on that radial styloid process or the scaphoid. If we want to find the scaphoid, we come just off the radial styloid process. There's a nice little soft spot, and then if we take her into ulnar deviation, we can feel that scaphoid pop out. Can start thumb. Okay. So I put gross. So I put that fulcrum right over the top of that scaphoid. My proximal arm is going to be lined up with her second metacarpal. Okay? The proximal arm is lined up with the second metacarpal. And then the distal arm is going to be lined up with the first metacarpal. So it looks like this when I get it lined up.
Quack.
Because I've got my motion of quack, quack, quack. Okay? And I'm going to do that motion. Now, in a resting position, most people don't get to 0 or don't start at 0. Don't let that throw you off. Don't be like, oh, I got to get your back down. No, okay? So like in a resting position, she's actually got almost 25 degrees of abduction.
Just barely in that normal range.
Just barely in that normal range, right?
10 degrees
But if
more.
I apply some pressure, oh, you don't have a lot.
No.
Not
I
at
don't
all.
have like finger flexion either. Like that's it.
Yeah.
What?
So I apply that pressure. Wow, yeah. We've got.
Apparently not
Doesn't
work out
know
my
what
hands.
life
Apparently she doesn't work out her hands. Yeah, we got like 30 degrees. So we got
10 degrees more.
5 degrees because we were at 25.
Oh yeah, 5 degrees more.
5 degrees more of that abduction, okay? But 0 to 70 is normal, right? Here's the thing.
Can't go wrong.
This is a great example of how do we find out her normal?
Bilateral.
Testing bilaterally. So we test her left side. We find out, okay, well, on her left side, she's got 30 degrees of passive range of motion. So 30 degrees of passive range of motion on the right is considered normal for her. Okay? This is more considered a functional movement. So if we are documenting and our patient only has 25 degrees or 20 degrees of passive abduction, then I say that in my documentation, but then I also include patient is unable to take part in functional tasks like grasping a cup or something along those lines. I tie a functional task to it that they are unable to do that inhibits their activities of daily living kind of thing. Okay? I didn't mention when I was applying pressure to her thumb to get that abduction, I don't want to apply at the middle phalanx or past that MCP joint. Why?
You don't want to mess up their thumb.
Don't want to mess up their thumb. Specifically, what structure do we have that crosses right there at the MCP joint?
Is that the ulnar ligaments?
Ulnar collateral ligament at UCL. We don't want to give her a gamekeeper's thumb, right? We don't want to put pressure on there and snap it.
Snap it off.
So we're going to keep...
Snap it that easy. Oh, excuse me.
Well, no. But we don't want to cause any damage. Right? So just remember that your pressure, we don't want to cross that MCP joint. We want it to be either directly on it or just proximal to that MCP joint. Okay? Adduction, you're not going to measure. So that's another one you can cross off the list.